So I am going to read a creative nonfiction essay, part of it that is going to be in this issue. It's called An Education on Rabbits. I'm 30 something, pulling weeds out of the front garden bed, sweat sopping through my bra and down my back. It's supposed to be cool all the time in the mountains, or at least I imagined it would be when I was living in Florida, but the sun burns just as hot here. I'm surrounded by children of my own making, 4 daughters. I have become the mother pet store workers preemptively groan about the second I walk in the door, anticipating a tour of small animal harassment. We have never had a small animal as a pet, and as far as I'm concerned, we never will, despite the fact I did, in a moment of weakness, once consider adopting a hairless guinea pig. My husband, my girl's father, is extremely allergic to all small animals, and this allergy has been my primary defense against the inevitable cry of children for small, fuzzy things that sometimes eat their young. We live in the middle of the woods up on the top of a ridge. The setting is idyllic, somehow encapsulating a certain stillness, despite the banshee sounds that come out of my children's mouths as they chase each other through the gravel driveway, down the hill, across the field, and then back up through the woods. My sweat is sweating. My youngest, around 5 at the time, whines as she flops her butt onto the rotting landscape timbers, holding this front bed up from the driveway. I've been fighting with this bed since we moved in years prior, nothing wanting to grow in the clay soil. But this year I was having some success with creeping jennies. Creepy jennies, the kids called them. And I sigh at my youngest when she tries to help me weed and inadvertently pulls out one of the jennies. We replant it together. Fish Sticks has a rat, one of the girls yells as the cat in question jumps into my garden, grumbling deep in his chest, his gray fur just a flash as he continues into the open garage. Behind him is a less graceful, much bigger bulldozer of white as the dog pursues him, knocking my youngest off the landscape timbers and onto the gravel. She would cry, but she is too intrigued by the large, not a rat, that is in the cat's mouth. Fish Sticks is a jovial fat cat, only saying a cross word to us when he is protecting a kill. And Ghost, the dog, is his best friend. But with prey between them, it is likely there will imminently be a large dog jumping backwards with a scratch on his face. With that in mind, I chase after the dog being chased by the children. Don't get between them, I warn the kids. We just need to get Fish Sticks back outside so he doesn't stink up the garage. Ghost, harkening back to his ancestry as a sheepdog or just by luck, pushes the vibratingly angry cat back out of the garage and into the garden we just left. As the cat runs by me, however, I notice two important facts at the same time my oldest does. It's a baby bunny, she shrieks, her voice going up several pitches in excitement, and it's alive. Now it's a rescue mission. A scenario flashes through my mind when I see Fish Sticks, cornered in the garden, drop the rabbit out of his mouth. The scenario involves Ghost ripping apart an adorable little bunny baby right in front of my screaming children's eyes. Fueled with that vision, I throw myself forward, body checking Ghost away from the bunny, and fall over the little rabbit, crushing my creeping jennies. Get a bucket, I'm yelling. At the same time, I am really hoping the bunny doesn't eat my face. When we have the rabbit safely in a bucket and the dog and the cat herded into the house, we sit together, my children and me, out on the front deck in the shade. Dirt is caked on my knees and elbows, along with the green fluid from my smashed plants. The rabbit itself is terrified, shivering in a lump of fluff, but doesn't appear to be injured by the cat or by me. My youngest is already leading the charge of petitioning to keep the rabbit. She is promising those familiar things all children who want a pet promise. I will feed it. I will clean its cage. I will walk it. Do you walk rabbits? And then the four of them argue over whether you can and should walk a rabbit. Your father is allergic, I start calmly. Our dogs and our cat want to eat it, I continue. And it isn't right to keep wild animals. Her mommy is probably out there looking for her, and we should take her home. My youngest cries even after the older children lose interest and go inside. She carries the bucket on her lap as we drive to the woods at the bottom of our hill. We pick a spot that has access to the creek and plenty of plants to eat and hide in. She tearfully lays the bucket on its side, and the little rabbit scurries in a panic into the forest. At the front of my mind is the fact that the rabbit is probably not going to live. I know enough about rabbits to know the stress will probably kill it, but that didn't seem like the right thing to tell her as we sit on the back of my SUV with the tailgate up. I have my arm around her, cuddling her up against me as I push her tear-soaked hair out of her face. Did you know a rabbit bit my finger off when I was 2? I asked her. Of course she did. I've told her the story enough times. She sniffled and nodded. You're older than 2 now, right? I asked. Of course, she nods again. That makes me a better mom than Mimi, I say triumphantly. You still have all 10 fingers. Wait, do you have all your toes too? She nods, but she is still sniffling and unwilling to smile. Her eyes on the spot her little friend disappeared. We ate the bunny after, I continue, looking thoughtfully into the woods. Do you think that makes me a cannibal? With a sniff, she asked, finally looking at me, what's a cannibal? It means someone that eats another of their own species. Like, I ate my finger through the rabbit, so I ate a human. But it was my finger. So am I a cannibal or not if I eat myself? Ew, she said with a grossed out face, but she wasn't crying anymore. We sat in silence a little longer before I said, rabbits are cannibals. Sometimes they eat their babies when they get too stressed. I'm glad you didn't eat me, she said. Me too, but sometimes it's very tempting, I said, and she whipped around to look at me indignantly for a beat of time before her face cracked in a smile. She cuddled closer to me, her small head against my cheek, and we watched the woods where her rabbit disappeared. Thank you.